100% Chelsea here outside Stamford Bridge. Chelsea have just beaten Frankfurt on penalties, 1-1 going into extra time. We repeat them from penalties. Here with Tony, man, it was a really, really tough game, but we got there in the end. How are you feeling?
Do you know what? It's hard to say this, but I don't actually feel over the moon. I thought that was absolutely dreadful, that game tonight. But obviously, winning the game was brilliant. You know, yeah. If you're worried about, if you think winning's all about winning, then brilliant. But that was so painful watching that.
Where do you think we went wrong today?
I think Sarri's team selection was dreadful. Kovacic, or whatever his flipping name is, and Jorginho, it doesn't matter what their names are, because they're both shit. I thought they were dreadful.
I thought Jorginho had a pretty decent game today.
Decent by his standards. Barkley should have been on earlier. Giroud was pathetic. As a Paqueta, yet again, got off where he got rinsed a few times. As I say, it's horrible really, because you're in another cup final and you should really be here singing and shouting like all these other boys. I feel deflated. I really thought we were going to lose there, didn't you? Especially when we missed the first penalty. I thought, oh, here we go. Especially against the German side, you know what they're like on penalties. I thought, honestly, I know we've got to be positive, we're in a final and that, but the sooner this Sarri goes, the better. Honestly, I promise you, mate. We're going to go through the same pain next year. There's no Sarri ball, is there?
I personally feel it's a case of transition. I thought this entire season was going to be a step backwards. But you look at how we've been playing. Yeah, the game, we've been playing poorly, especially over the last couple of months, I admit that. But looking at where we've got top four, which was our aim at the start of the season. We're in two finals now. Do you think it's that bad of a season, or do you think it's maybe taking a step back to take a step forward?
You know something, I actually thought this the other day. I had a good think about it, and I thought exactly what you're just saying. I'm thinking, you know, we're in two finals now, top four, and then I think about it a little bit deeper. The League Cup, fair enough, you know, can't say nothing away for that. But this cup, I'm not joking, top championship sides would have a good run in this cup. The league, let's be realistic here. We're nearly 30 points behind Liverpool and Man City. That's 10 games. That's 10 wins, that is. Behind, that's not Chelsea. I don't call that transition. I really don't.
Then what about in the case of taking a step back? Because we were going to go backwards, but it's the case of do we go forwards next season?
Well, how can we go forwards when we're getting banned in this transfer window? Is this the guy to take us forward? Is he the guy to take us forward, playing youth team players? Let's face it, the only way he played at Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek was because of fan power, because of us screaming and shouting on the terraces and fuck Sarri ball, and we want Loftus-Cheek, we want Odoi, Hudson-Odoi, and it's the only reason he played them. This guy's not, he's not a believer in youth. He's a believer in the same players every week. Jorginho, has he missed a game this season? I don't think he's missed a flipping game. I mean, you know, listen, it's so hard to be negative on a night like this, but I feel deflated. I really do. I thought we were going to get beat tonight. I thought we were out.
Let's say, in the case of a best case scenario, let's say we get third, let's say we win the Europa League final. Yeah. Even with the transfer ban, let's say that happens, because right now the transfer ban is happening. How do you see us moving forward?
Under this guy, not at all. I see us going backwards. I think we're in serious trouble, especially if Eden goes, which it looks likely he's going to go, doesn't it? Once he goes, he has carried this team the whole season. I honestly believe this. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I see a lot of comments on this Chelsea TV. There's a lot of rude people on there. They've got their own opinions, but that's up to them, right? I think, personally, we've only got two world-class players, and that is Eden Hazard and Kante. I think Williams he's over the hill, Pedro's over the hill. Of course they're going to do a job. They're great players. They've been brilliant players, but they're over the hill now. We need to replace them, and if we're banned from the transfer window, how are we going to replace them? And will he bring the kids in, this guy? I really don't think he will. And I'll go back to what I said at the beginning of the season. I won't use the same language I used, but Marina Granovskia, who's head of buying all the players, who's upstairs, she knows absolutely nothing about football. She's useless. We should be using our academy, yeah? Because the players she brings in are always on loan.
Can I say something on that, though? We'll talk about the academy. What about in the case of... Because under Sarri, I think Chelsea Academy players have had more minutes than anyone else in the Abramovich era. Also, Sarri did come out and say that he's got his eyes on at least 2 or 3 Chelsea youth players. Right. So even with that, do you still think that he's not going to be using youth players next season? Going
back to what I did say a minute ago, I think the only reason he's been playing these youth team players is because he's been forced into it by us, you know, screaming and shouting, the annoyance.
2 or 3 others for
so he says. I just think some of these players we've got in, Kokovic, he was dreadful tonight, and he stayed on the whole flipping game. He give the ball away time after time. Giroud, holding his head. I don't expect any different from him. I expect him to miscontrol the ball. I don't expect him to be in goal-scoring positions. I just don't know the sort of players. I don't know how he's going to take us forward next year. I really don't. I really honestly don't. I think it's worrying times. We need to beat. Listen, I want to say this, and a lot of people say he's got no experience in it. I think that's a load of bullshit, personally, because I think you only get experience by experience. We've got to get Frank Lampard back in here with Jody Morris and bring JT back. I pray to God, Derby supporters won't like me saying this, but I hope they get beat in the playoffs, because I want Frank back here with Jody Morris, and they will take the team forward. And they have taken young players on loan. They've shown that they will play the young players. We need to be using our academy players. They are really good. We got the best academy in the world, bar none.
But fans are also saying, because one of Sarri's criticisms has been lack of achievements or lack of experience.